Hey guys, just wanted to make a quick early morning, late night YouTube video. I've been on the road mostly, and I hadn't seen the reports until hours later about what happened at the Stop the Steal rally against election fraud that I was at earlier today from about 10:50 to 3:30 p.m. And I want to do a fuller podcast tomorrow on some of this, but I figured I'd leave you with a few things just because social media is talking a lot about this, and I was there, and some of the things being said just don't add up. They don't seem accurate to me. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experience real quick. I got there about 10:50. The crowd was enormous. I've never seen anything that big, and I've been at some of the other Stop the Steal rallies. People, I think, perhaps angrier. I mean, the sense of, I think, the late hour that we're at, the maybe sense of desperation, but just anger at all the voter fraud that's been revealed, I think was evident. Donald Trump, I think, did a good job from what I could hear. I couldn't hear all of it. I was back towards the Washington Memorial, but he laid out many of the facts. And then there was a march to the Capitol, and on the way, we went past the Department of Justice, and I could see from like the fourth or fifth story, I think it was the fourth story window, a lady poked her head out and then flipped off the crowd after taking a picture, and this, of course, made everyone angry. And then security came out, and people were chanting things like, "Do your job," and one of the security guards was just had this smirk on his face the whole time, which of course made the crowd more angry. And then we got to the Capitol, and I got there after the barricades had, I guess, had been torn down. I saw a little video today that showed just a bare bones group of policemen. It looked like there were like four policemen trying to hold back this crowd of probably thousands that were coming in. But when I got there, I didn't know about that. I hadn't seen that. All I knew was someone near us told us that the police had just let people in. And there's another video I saw of them just letting people in that lawn area where I ended up. And so I thought, okay, the police let people in here. And the crowd it was a rally, so the crowd was, chanting and that kind of thing. There were some people by scaffolding trying to get in farther into the Capitol, but I did not see them pushing or punching or doing anything like that. They were just it was a standoff. And some of them were trying to get around the scaffolding, to get around the security. One of the things that I want to emphasize is that there was hardly any security. I was shocked at the lack of security. And I could see that 2 streets over, as I was coming in there was a whole line of police vehicles, and I don't know where those policemen were. And as I was leaving that night about 4:30, I saw a number of vans and a police escort. There was a SWAT team going towards the Capitol. And so it's interesting to me. I know Donald Trump had called out the National Guard that morning. Where were they? I never saw the National Guard. The police that they should have had available weren't there. I don't know if this was by design or if this was just really faulty planning, but I have to think that this can't be that. I mean, this can't be that poorly executed. You know that this many people are coming and they're angry about what's happening inside, which gets me to another point. The narrative being spun right now by like Gospel Coalition and Al Mohler, etc., is that the revolutionaries were the ones who, stormed the barricades and flew their flags, I guess, outside the Capitol, on the scaffolding, etc., and on the Capitol actually. And the thought that I want to leave with you is, it's a question: are the revolutionaries those who are outside, the men in boots, or are they the men in suits inside the Capitol? Because if you truly believe that this election fraud happened on a mass scale, that this truly is a real conspiracy, it's not a coincidence, this really did happen, people conspired to do this. If you truly believe that, and you think you have the evidence for it, and it's there, if you truly believe that, as people got the message when I arrived, just after I arrived at the Capitol, everyone was the rumors were going around that Mike Pence had basically folded. If you truly believe that was wrong, that he would do that, and that was the last line of defense for our election integrity, If you think that, then you're going to think that you have no more options. Your last recourse is done. The left has the media, academia, they have the seminaries, they have pretty much every institution, and now they have the vote. So you don't even get to voice your opinion in a political vote because it'll just be taken away from you. Well, what left do you have? And if those who supposedly represent you are going to support that fraud, then what are you supposed to do about it? You don't have another recourse. And I think that's how a lot of people felt. I'm not supporting everything that happened there because I'm not even aware of all of it. But I want you to put yourself in those shoes. And from that perspective, ask yourself, who are the real revolutionaries then? Who are the ones trying to tear down our system? Specifically our voter integrity system, and that's related to everything else. And it would be those inside the Capitol trying to overturn an election. It would not be those outside who are trying to conserve a system that has worked for over 200 years. So that's one thought I wanted to leave with you. But again, police presence wholly inadequate, either completely incompetent or that was planned. Which you can take that, I guess, however you want to take it. It was interesting too. I should mention this. People there rallying without any violence that I could see. I didn't see, like I said, I didn't see any violence there while I was there in anything. But tear gas was shot at the audience multiple times, and this made people even more mad. And so it instigated the crowd because the crowd thought, what did we do to deserve that? And so it just, the whole thing, it's just, I have a weird taste in my mouth from this day, a really weird taste in my mouth from watching what I watched, because something just did not feel right. Why were the police not prepped? Why weren't there enough there? Why in the world were they spraying all this tear gas into the audience which just escalated things further? It made no sense to me. So I wanted to just leave that with you, and then that question. Think about it. Who are the real revolutionaries? And then you can also add to it 1776. Think about the War for American Independence, and who were the in that war, who were the actual revolutionaries? We call it the Revolutionary War, but those on the side of American independence primarily were trying to conserve their rights as British, and they didn't think that they were getting those. That the true revolutionaries in their minds were Parliament, and more specifically the King, for not protecting their rights, disbanding their legislatures, etc. You can go through the list in the Declaration of Independence. So I want to leave that thought with you. Hopefully I'll be able to develop this a little more tomorrow in a longer video. God bless and good night.